In Valdelobos, a mountainous region of Spain, a disturbing religious cult emerged named Los Illuminados. This cult drew inspiration from Roman Catholicism but incorporated human sacrificial elements into their practice. The core belief behind the religion is that the parasitic organisms known as plaga are holy creatures granted to humanity by God. During the 15th century, a crusade was led by Gregorio Salazar, a prominent nobleman who would later rule over the area from a castle. Gregorio would establish Catholicism as the dominant religion after brutally executing Los Illuminados followers and confining the remaining plaga within the region's vast caverns. As a self-appointed feudal lord, Gregorio protected the Catholic converts and persecuted any suspected Illuminados activities. Following Gregorio's death, his descendants continued to rule the region into the 21st century under Ramon Salazar.
Los Illuminados experienced a revival under the leadership of Osman Sadler in the 90s. After saving the life of the infirm Ramon, Sadler was able to convince the 8th Castellan to release the plagas from their extended dormancy. In time, all the cult followers and much of the local population were parasitized by the plaga.
Complete local saturation.
With his power cemented, Sadler initiated an ambitious plan for world domination.
The award-winning must-have action title of 2005 is now a PlayStation 2 event. With new weapons and an additional storyline featuring the mysterious Ada Wong. Evil has evolved. Resident Evil 4 for the PlayStation 2, only from Capcom.
Welcome back, friends, to a very exciting installment of our Enemy Lore series. Today, we will be moving away from classic RE and diving into RE4. As always, our sources are listed down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Ganado is the name given to human hosts of the plaga parasite. The first cases of plaga infection occurred when Osman Sadler sent a team of miners to excavate the caverns beneath Salazar Castle. Many of the workers inhaled spores from the fossilized remains of the plaga, bringing the parasite out of extinction. Using these plagas, Sadler perfected the ability to reproduce the organism and began implanting eggs into new hosts through the disguise of baptismal rituals. Since Sadler and his lieutenants are hosts to dominant species of plaga, they have ultimate control over the actions of all the Ganado. With this power, the Ganado were under strict orders to eliminate any trespassers that entered the region. This led to an unknown number of hikers disappearing and the 2 cops that escorted Leon to Valdelobos being murdered. The Ganado found in the local village attacked the player with farming tools such as sickles, pitchforks, axes, and the occasional stick of dynamite. You may have noticed during your time suplexing fools that there are no children found in the village. Outside of Capcom not wanting Leon shotgun blasting kids in the face, there is a reason for this. Simply put, the plaga could not survive in the underdeveloped bodies of the children, so when they were injected with the parasite, they all died off. When the Ganado aren't trying to kill you, they poorly perform essential farming duties and are called to worship by the church bell. Ganado residing within Salazar's castle serve as monks and utilize medieval weaponry such as maces, crossbows, scythes, and wooden shields. Cleverly, some of these Ganado will adorn steel masks to protect themselves from headshots. During Leon's infiltration of the castle, the Ganado make constant use of the uniquely designed interior to get a jump on the once rookie cop. Serving in Sadler's private army are Ganado militiamen equipped with modern weaponry. They utilize rocket launchers, stun rods, and metal shields. With the immense defensive capabilities of Sadler's Island, these loyalist guerrillas have access to a number of turrets as well. These turrets are of course no match compared to the aviation specialist himself, Mike.
Of the Ganado, there are several notable variants that you'll encounter. The first of which is a chainsaw-wielding Ganado. These menacing guys stand 6'5" and wear potato sacks over their heads. With their chainsaws, they are capable of decapitating the player if they get too close. This enemy has often been referred to as Dr. Salvador. Judging off the alias, it can be assumed that at least one of the chainsaw men was the village doctor. The Bella sisters similarly wield chainsaws. This dangerous duo have bandages wrapped around their faces and higher movement speed than the Chainsaw Man. Within Sadler's army, there are a number of Ganado with the strength to hold a personal Gatling gun. These guys are known as JJ. In the RE4 make, JJ is replaced by a new variant of Ganado known as Brutes. Brutes are characterized by their animal head mask and bulking size. Last but not least, the remake introduces Ganado Desnucado. These guys come from Plaga further mutating in a defeated host body. They walk around with broken necks and are far more aggressive than the common Ganado.
Oftentimes, if you shoot a Ganado in the head or do enough damage, the Plaga that resides in the body will burst from the head. It is possible to determine the maturity of the Plaga based on its appearance. During the Guandana stage of life, the Plaga has giant tentacles with scythe-like bones at the tip. In the following Mandibula stage, the Plaga grows considerably in size. In the remake, this change allows the Plaga to grip the ceiling and creep across in a frightening display. The final stage of Plaga mutation is known as Aranya. In this stage, the Plaga can spit acid and detach themselves from their hosts following death. While detached from their hosts, the Plaga are frail targets. In the remake, the lone Plaga have the ability to hop on the back of the nearest Ganado and hijack the tendrils of the lesser developed parasite residing within the host. The presence of two Plaga in the body forces the Ganado to enter a berserker state. Plaga are extremely sensitive to light. Therefore, you won't see them pop out during the day and can easily be taken out with a flash grenade.
Unless the brain is destroyed, the influence of the Plaga is not immediately absolute. It takes a while for the parasite to completely assume control of the body. The growth of the organism can be treated with a serum developed by Dr. Luis Serra, but it only delays the inevitable. The only way to survive infection is to rid the creature via radiation therapy. Surgical removal of the Plaga with any other method will result in the host's death.
Located in the deep murky lake of Valdelobos resides Delago. This BOW was used to stop any unwanted visitors from crossing the lake and to dispose of the many corpses left in Illuminados' wake. Delago is the result of a significant mutation occurring between the bond of a simple salamander and a Plaga. It would meet its end after being skewered by numerous harpoons.
Los Gigantes are genetically enhanced humans developed by Illuminados. They stand well over 4 times taller than the average human and possess incredible strength. Because of the creature's immaculate, destructive power and low intelligence, these BOWs are incredibly hard to control. For this reason, only a few Gigantes were ever produced. The most effective method for dealing with these towering demons is to pump enough damage into them so that their Plaga will erupt from the spine. While fighting a Gigante, it can be quite helpful to enlist the support of a furry friend or dunk them in a pool of lava.
Next up, we have the Colmillos. These wolves were used as guinea pigs in Illuminados' early Plaga experiments. As a result of parasitization, the wolves' teeth have grown to a remarkable size. Their size in comparison to the rest of their face is so significant that they can no longer properly close their jaws. The spines on these Plaga dogs suffer deformities as the result of these parasites growing in the abdomen. In dangerous situations, the Plaga can rip through the back of these pack animals so that its bladed tentacles can be used as weapons. Ramon Salazar kept a number of these beasts as pets housed within his courtyard maze.
As the village's chief and priest, Torres Mendez was a key player in establishing Sadler's power within the region. Sadler converted him to Los Illuminados to exploit his position of influence among the locals. Together, Mendez and Sadler convinced the population that the first Castellan who originally banished the Plaga was not a hero, but in fact a wicked man. They additionally added that the act has stained the region in sin, and the only way to cleanse the soul is through Illuminados' baptismal rituals. This brainwashing campaign was of course a success and provided Sadler with an impressive army. For Mendez's service, he was granted a dominant species of Plaga and became one of Sadler's trusted lieutenants. The dominant Plaga allowed Mendez to have full control over his body and manipulate the actions of the village Ganado. During the operation to kidnap Ashley Graham, Dr. Luis Serra betrayed Sadler by stealing a dominant Plaga egg. Mendez was quick to suspect this was part of a plan involving a third party, so he sent the local ganado to capture Serra for questioning. Father Mendez would succeed in capturing Luis along with Leon, who had recently entered the area. While captured, Mendez was ordered to keep Leon alive so that Sadler could inject him with a Plaga egg. In the remake, the middleman is cut out and Mendez injects the Plaga himself. Mendez initially believed that Leon's egg would hatch before he could cause enough damage, but he was quickly proven wrong. In little time, Leon had devastated his troops and took back the president's daughter. With the poor weather eliminating any chance of a helicopter pickup, Leon and Ashley were forced to flee to Salazar Castle. Just before reaching their destination, Mendez intercepted them to battle Leon. After being enveloped in the explosion of a red barrel, Mendez mutates into one of Resident Evil's best designed bosses. In his mutant state, Mendez's fingernails turn to razor-sharp talons, he gains extra limbs, and his spine extends his torso to look like a centipede. Halfway through the fight, Mendez will abandon his lower half to swing his body freely around the arena. Upon defeat, his artificial eye oozes out of his head and is the key to gain access to Salazar Castle in the original game.
The ruthless predators equipped with long retractable claws are known as Garradors. Through parasitization, these hosts gained exceptional physical abilities and became uncontrollably aggressive. In an attempt to control their unbridled rage, these creatures have had their eyes sewn shut. This has forced the Garradors to hunt relying solely on their acute hearing. The only method of damaging these beasts is to attack the exposed Plaga on their back. This is best achieved by sneaking quietly behind the Garrador or luring it to the sound of a loud noise.
Positioned like sentinels within the confines of Salazar Castle are Plaga living inside suits of armor. By stretching their tentacles throughout the armor, the Plaga gain the ability to manipulate these medieval relics. Many Armadura will stand motionless to conserve energy until a potential living host enters their strike zone. Others with more energy to spare stumble towards the player in an effort to slash you with a sword. The strength of these guys are related to the type of armor they inhabit. The silver armor is the weakest, followed by black, then gold.
You may be surprised to learn that the Novistadors were once human test subjects of Los Illuminados. Codenamed U2 in the remake, these grotesque BOWs are the result of fusing human genes with various insect species during the parasitization process. Novistadors have the ability to bend the light spectrum around their skin, rendering them virtually invisible. Whether it be the air, the water, or the ground, these bugs are nothing but a pain in the butt. Novistadors tend to avoid daylight and live in large hive-like structures of their own creation.
The nightmarish figures that serve as Ramon's bodyguards were once his loyal servants. They're called Verdugos and are the result of fusing human DNA with insect DNA. Their mutations are hidden by the long, elegant Illuminados cloaks they adorn. The Verdugo clad in red was once known as Isidro Uriarte Talavera. After receiving a superior Plaga, Isidro used his gifted mind to create the Novistadors. He achieved this by infusing a special black liquid that accelerates Plaga growth with a human embryo. He named them U2 to honor his family name. In his pursuit to improve upon the human form, Isidro engineered the Verdugo adorned in black. He achieved this by subjecting one of the maids to 6 months of torturous experimentation. Dubbing his creation Placenta, it was granted the honor of becoming Ramon's personal bodyguard. Ada's campaign in separate ways reveals that Placenta is actually U3. This is different from the original game where the Black Verdugo and U3 are separate entities. The Black Verdugo originally merged with Ramon and the Queen Plaga. He is never encountered directly in any of the campaigns. Deciding that 2 bodyguards are better than one, Isidro infused himself with the black liquid to become the insectoid we all know and love. His thick black carapace and powerful tail make him an impeccable predator. Leon was only able to defeat Isidro by using liquid nitrogen showers to weaken his exoskeleton.
In 1984, Diego and Catalina Salazar brought the 8th Count of Valdelobos into the world. Growing up, Ramon was inflicted with an illness expected to take his life before reaching adulthood. Perhaps as a result of this, Ramon developed his signature cruelty. In one instance as an adolescent, the young lord poured acid on a servant's face for calling him Pulgarcito.
Oh no! It's boiling acid!
Against Diego's wishes, Catalina invited the prophet Osmond Sadler into their home in a desperate attempt to save their sick child. Sadler infected Ramon with a dominant plaga in order to cure him and soon after, disposed of Diego and Catalina. In time, Ramon grew to idolize Sadler as a father figure and fully converted to Illuminados. As one of Sadler's trusted lieutenants, Ramon was put in charge of protecting the Queen Plaga, a large creature that created new plaga through asexual reproduction. In Ramon's final battle with Leon, he merges with the Queen Plaga and his remaining bodyguard. In the remake, the Queen Plaga is absent and Ramon mutates into his boss form after sustaining multiple gunshot wounds.
Martinico is an exclusive enemy to the remake's iteration of Separate Ways. This BOW was once a fragile test subject, but thanks to multiple experiments and its assimilation to the Plaga, gained tremendous regenerative abilities. Escaping containment, Martinico chased Ada through cramped hallways until its death by lasers.
If you find yourself alone in the dark and hear erratic breathing, a Regenerador just might be around the corner. Named after their artificially created high metabolism, these monstrosities are near invincible. After sustaining an injury, tentacles sprout from the Regenerador's wound to knit together new flesh in a matter of seconds. This allows the BOW to recover from bullet wounds, lost limbs, or decapitation. The ability is due to multiple plaga residing in the once human test subjects. Destroying each plaga is the only surefire way of eliminating these enemies. Regeneradors covered in sharp needles are known as Iron Maidens. When killed, the needles shoot out from the body like a shrapnel bomb. The original game claims that Iron Maidens were derived from Regeneradors. In the remake, they are an evolution of it.
The earliest information we have on Jack Krauser is that he used to serve in the United States Army. Believing that the thrill of combat is what gave meaning to life, Krauser led many operations and participated in mercenary work during his free time. Later in his career, Krauser would be recruited by US SOCOM and gain the nickname Silver Dax. As a seasoned expert in the field, Krauser was selected to partake in a mission alongside Leon Kennedy in 2002. Dubbed Operation Javier, the two were tasked with locating Javier Hidalgo in South America. Javier was a local drug lord suspected to have been in contact with a former Umbrella researcher. When the op commenced, Krauser made it very clear to Leon that he was skeptical that BOWs really exist. This skepticism quickly turned to curiosity after the T-Virus was released and all hell broke loose. Wanting to learn all he could about his new enemy, Krauser gained an interest in Leon's past, specifically the Raccoon City incident. Making their way through hordes of enemies, the duo run into a local village girl singing to a large amphibious BOW. After fighting off the beast, the girl tells us her name is Manuela and that she is Javier's daughter. From Manuela, we learn a lot about the Hidalgo family. Both Manuela and her mother Hilda contracted a deadly disease found in the surrounding area. In an effort to save his family, Javier injected them with the T. Veronica virus. I'm sure you're asking yourself why Manuela looks normal. From what we know about the virus in Code Veronica, she should be turning into another incredible green friend. The only reason Alexia was able to control the virus was because she subjected herself to 15 years of cryogenic sleep. Well, Manuela's method for controlling the virus was by constantly having her vital organs transplanted from kidnapped girls. Hilda exhibited the natural reaction you would expect to see from an infection. She is the amphibious BOW that Manuela was singing to. While the operation was underway, Krauser grew spiteful of Leon. He was jealous of Leon's elite status and began to question his own worth as a soldier.
Oh well, looks like I'm nothing more than a pawn in this game.
This is most likely why Krauser found himself empathizing more and more with Javier's philosophy of becoming stronger to survive. As the three continued their journey, they would inevitably run into Hilda yet again. Krauser's left arm was impaled by the beast before they took her down. The mission would conclude after the three successfully destroyed the V-Complex bioweapon. You'll have to wait for our Dark Side Chronicles episode for more information on that. Krauser's injury never fully recovered, and he was taken out of commission from the military as a result. Continuing down his dark path, Krauser faked his death and sought out Wesker, whom he had learned about from Leon's stories.
Working under Wesker, Krauser was sent to Spain to infiltrate Los Illuminados and steal a dominant Plaga. Despite never fully trusting Krauser, Illuminados' prophet would eventually grant him the Plaga he desired. Enamored by the prospect of more power, Krauser injected the sample into his own body. Promising Krauser admission into his inner circle, Sadler hired the once noble soldier to kidnap Ashley Graham, thus sparking the events of RE4 into action. Even after kidnapping the president's daughter, Sadler would remain skeptical of Krauser. Because of this, Wesker sent in Ada to assist in Krauser's infiltration of the cult. Krauser questioned Ada's loyalty to Wesker and assured her he would eliminate her in the event of her betrayal. It seems nobody in this circle trusts each other. Leon and Krauser would be reunited after Wesker ordered Krauser to kill him. Exchanging blades in an epic QuickTime event, Krauser revealed that he was in league with Umbrella. Just as Krauser gained the upper hand on Leon, he was prevented from killing him thanks to a well-placed shot from Ada or Louise. A bit later, Krauser would intercept Leon and prevent him from progressing past some booby-trapped ruins. Eluding robotic drones and explosive traps, Leon would come face to face with Krauser at the top of a tower. To help ensure Leon's doom, Krauser set C4 charges to explode around the tower before he mutated to fight him one last time. It's in this fight that we see the full extent of power granted to Krauser by the Plaga. Krauser's arm that was wounded by Hilda mutates into a multifunctional bladed appendage. Even with his enhanced arm, remarkable agility, and overwhelming strength, Krauser was unable to beat Leon. His body crumbled with the tower as the C4 he set went off. Surprisingly, Krauser survived all of this and ran into Ada a little while later. Ada would confirm Krauser's suspicions after killing him in his severely weakened state. RE4 Make cuts a lot from Krauser's backstory. For one, Krauser has no affiliation with Wesker and is a faithful follower of Los Illuminados. Operation Javier did happen, but it was not where Krauser met Leon. The two knew each other because Krauser rigorously trained Leon for an unknown amount of time after Leon was recruited as a government agent. Operation Javier was far less eventful, and Leon wasn't even present. It was a mission years in the making that involved only the most elite soldiers. Major Krauser acted as the commanding officer and was the only soldier to survive after being betrayed by the US government. Fueled by his hatred, Krauser sought pure, unadulterated power. Leon is granted the honor of officially killing Krauser in this version of the story. In both versions of the game, Wesker secures a sample of the Plaga after retrieving Krauser's corpse.
If the Sadler family tree represents one side of a coin, then Valdalobos' feudal rulers represent the other. For hundreds of years, the Salazars prevented Illuminados proselytization by banishing the religion. Since it was the Sadlers' goal to spread the good word of Plaga, they were exiled to live on a nearby island. It wasn't until the prophet Osmond Sadler came around that Illuminados would be freed from its island isolation. Leveraging his knowledge of Ramon Salazar's uniquely cruel personality, Sadler manipulated the 8th Count to resurrect his objects of worship. Using these Plaga and through the assistance of Dr. Luis Serra, the dominant species was created. The dominant species is unique in that it can influence the parasite's hive mind and allow the host to maintain their personality. From here, Sadler would convert Mendez, saturate the local population, order his army to kill any trespassers, and send Krauser to kidnap Ashley Graham. Sadler's intent with kidnapping the president's daughter was to parasitize the executive branch of the government through her, thus controlling one of the world's most powerful countries. Luis was the first to hinder Sadler's ambitious plan after stealing the dominant Plaga sample intended for the president. For his transgressions, Luis was tied up and placed in a dresser.
Leon and Ada's arrival in Valdalobos assured Sadler's plan would not come to fruition. Leon wiped through Sadler's forces, killed his trusted lieutenants, and used Louise's equipment to destroy the Plaga within Ashley and himself. Ada either destroys one of Sadler's warships and finishes off Krauser, or has her various encounters with Pacenta. In both accounts of the narrative, Ada distracts Sadler so that Leon and Ashley can escape to Louise's lab. In Ada and Sadler's battle, Ada is knocked out then tied up atop a steel tower. Arriving on the scene, Leon releases Ada and the duo face off against the Prophet in a climactic finale. Before mutating, Sadler opens his mouth to reveal a large eye. From his neck, 4 spider-like appendages sprout and carry his dangling body around the arena. Using his new appendages, Sadler swipes at Leon and throws bundles of construction material at him. All while this is happening, Ada is swinging around the rafters above to reach a rocket launcher. After obtaining the weapon, she throws it down to Leon. Using the rocket launcher, Leon kills Sadler with a well-placed shot. Deja vu.
With that, my friends, we have officially covered every enemy found in Resident Evil 4. Hopefully, we could give it some love after getting snubbed at the Game Awards.
Next up on the docket is Revelations, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks for watching.